Thank you so much. I just want to show you a couple of pictures from the actual film shoot. This is the replica cabin that we built, and we actually shot the entire film in near Chattanooga, Tennessee, in that area. So it's kind of fun to be here and see that. Okay, yeah, it looks pretty similar. But that cabin is actually a facade. It has two sides, just the two sides that you're looking at. And the brick chimney is made of foam. The sides of the building are actually corrugated plastic that's been painted to look like wood. So that's movie magic for you. Just a couple more shots. This was the big field that we did that swooping crane shot in. There it is. And this is working with the kids. They were both great. Anders Philman on the left, the young boy, he actually is not an actor. He was a kid that I was babysitting at the time that I was in college, and he auditioned, and we actually did hold auditions in LA for that role, but this kid kind of blew it out of the park. So anyway, I just wanted to see if you guys had any questions about the film or the making of the film or comments or anything like that. Yeah.
I'd actually like to know two things. One, how exactly was this film put together? Did you use Apple computer and that kind of thing, or any particular programs? And what was the overall cost of doing that?
The cost?
Yes.
Okay, so the questions were, how was the film put together in post-production, the editing and all of that, and also the cost. So we did edit the film in Final Cut Pro on an Apple computer, and we edited it at the school, the film school that I went to. I actually had graduated by this point. I did a shorter, almost like a teaser for this as my senior project, and then I had moved to LA and was in LA for a year or two before going back to Chattanooga to collaborate with the film department there to make this. So I had graduated, I wasn't a student, but the school was incredibly generous, let us use all of the equipment. A lot of students worked on the project for free, and it was a great experience for them too. And my professor actually was the cinematographer on this film and did an incredible job. So yeah, but we did all the editing in Final Cut Pro. It was all done on campus there. And the music was recorded in Houston, and that's a whole story in and of itself. I had found this composer through a friend in LA and loved his work and was just crossing my fingers that maybe he would say yes to do the score, but he volunteered his time to write the score. He then went and found this performing arts school. It's called the Houston something Performing Arts School, and it's made up of very elite musical students in high school, and they pulled together a 60-piece orchestra to record this, and that was almost at no cost. I think we paid a couple of recording engineers, and we catered a meal for the orchestra, and that was it. So that was just one of my favorite things about this whole project, the music. So yeah, it was pieced together. It took 6 days to shoot and many, many months to do the post-production and the editing and the music. So that's how that was done. And the cost, we probably spent about $11,000 to actually make this film. We had to raise a little bit more in post-production for the little bit of money to do the score and things like that. But that's really sort of an insane number. It really should have cost closer to $100,000. But because of how many things got donated, from the equipment package to the free, student labor to the free film score and everything else, it absolutely blew my mind that we were able to pull this off on almost a zero budget. So, yep. Any other questions? Right over here.
What were the inspirations of Henry with children? The accounts of Louise's accounts of her interactions with Henry what came to mind. But I wonder where you got those inspirations.
So the question was, where did the kids come from, more or less? What was the inspiration there? And yeah, I think it's true that we're told Thoreau is quite good with children. But it's funny that before I really knew that, I came up with the concept for the two kids. And I honestly don't know where that came from. It was like a visual that came to me, I think, and just I had this picture of 2 kids running through the woods and discovering this building. In fact, that was before I even chose to focus on Thoreau. Kind of weird, but when I was trying to come up with ideas for what I would do for my film, I thought, oh, 2 kids running through the woods discovering something cool. And then I was reading Thoreau in class and thought, oh, he's going to be the one that they discover. But yeah, it was just kind of an image that came to me, and it wasn't until much later that I discovered Thoreau is said to be good with children, and yeah.
I'd just like to sound you out on your, I'd like to sound you out on your, you know, your longer production. I think you touch a very important issue. It turns out, I understand the statistics are that 1 in 4 children in America are on food stamps. So showing these children living in these conditions, I think maybe it shouldn't be rural poverty. I don't think to be realistic it should be urban poverty. Because that's, you know, inner city sort of slum, you know. So
Yeah.
I think that would be a much more realistic for what America's like to live. But another interesting issue that irks me, I've heard certain people say that the people who don't have jobs are lazy and don't want to work. You know, people that live in poverty are lazy and don't want to work. The people, at least in general, that have, that's their view. And that's expressed in our social policies and so forth.
Right.
And we romanticize Thoreau's day. But in Thoreau's day, 90% of the people lived in farms, small family farms, and they could, in principle, raise enough to feed themselves. That's not true today. I mean, we have a highly mechanized society, and if you're not part of the system, you have to be on food stamps. So I don't know if you could that's that sort of thing. But.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a good point. And I think, I mean, there always will be people, of course, who do take advantage of the system, but there are many others who truly have a hard time, and I've met them. I mean, incredible hard workers who either have health conditions or, you know, have to work through it. So it is a difficult thing, and I think, you know, I feel like these themes are relevant today, partly because, I mean, we're in a recession. A lot of people are struggling, and, you know, there's such a part of your identity and your self-esteem that comes from having meaningful work and from being able to provide for yourself. So I feel like Thoreau's, you know, ideas, again, are incredibly timely, you know, when you realize that, you know, true wealth can come from much simpler things as well. And that doesn't mean that you're not hardworking, but it does mean that maybe you have your priorities right. Over there?
Thank you. I really appreciate that. That's great.
Thank you.
I may be jumping ahead, but I'd like to hear more about how you envision turning this into a full-length film. Have you thought for story yet? Do you have a treatment, or is it something you're still thinking about?
Yeah. So the question was, how far along is the feature film? And we definitely will delve into that a little bit more. But the short answer is that the script is written. It's a 120-page script, so that comes out to about a 2-hour film. I've been working for the last, I would say, 3 years, more or less since this was completed, to try to find funding for the film. And the resources are more or less in place. The school has already expressed interest in collaborating again on doing a full-length film. You know, the crew is there, the people are there. It's just a matter of raising the funding at this point. But there's a whole promo kit package and script that's completed. And of course, the short film is part of that package. So